Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Season 3 of the Wrestling Realm Presents Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy, and remember, every belt has a story. And so does 2024. Now, I said it at the beginning of this year that 2024 seems to be the year of the belt. And man, did it not disappoint. But I could not let 2024 end without giving you something to think about. Because 2025, oh man, you got a lot to live up to. Because 2024 definitely said, here's some new belts, here's some new championships, here's some new take on some belts. But you know what? Let's dive into what happened actually in 2024. So another way than what the guy can do, I'm going to give you a top 5, but it's going to be a little twist on this top 5. I'm going to give you the top 5 releases of 2024 according to the guy from Championship Culture. In this top 5, you might see a set of belts that got released. You might see concepts of belts that got released. You might see new twists on belts that got released. But you know what? Without further ado, let's dive right into these top 5. So number 5 was none other than Triple H giving us the new WWE and World Tag Team Championships. Now, it's so crazy because the world title was such a unique new design. It kind of was almost like they took the World Heavyweight title and said, let's make it like it was a tag team title. And if you want to see a in-depth breakdown, we did one earlier in the year when it came out on Championship Culture. Just go to the playlist. You'll see like the whole breakdown of it. But what's unique about both sets of belts, they have a modern feel. Even though I know the realness is going to hate this, one of the belts was modeled after, the classic Attitude Era, but this was modeled after the classic Attitude Era. But you still see he's paying homage to the old style of belts to bring them to a new generation. And it was a new feel that it felt like both belts have a different meaning, a different stake, different claim, different champions. Thank you, Triple H, for that. And we definitely appreciate it. That's why you're winning the number 5 slot on this list. So number 4 goes to none other than the WWE college themed belts. When I say college themed, if you go to WWE shop, you'll see that they released a lot of belts geared towards a lot of college football teams. And it's so unique because at the very top of the belt keeps the WWE logo, so you know it's a WWE inspired product. But front and center is the most recognizable logo of that team. And then they did something really unique. When you look at the belts, all of them in the nameplates where you would see like Stone Cold, The Rock, Chris Jericho, Triple H's name, he actually has their logo where it says, "We are Penn State, Roll Tide." I thought that was such a unique touch and such a little subtlety to show people that, even in the aspect of having a belt over your shoulder or around your waist, you're still representing your team. It's just like wearing a jersey. It's just like wearing the flag when you're driving in your car. It's the same thing of having now another point to show people that you support this team. Triple H has actually done something unique where he's actually made it cool to carry championship belts. You see these at different sporting events and you see them at different venues when people are just talking trash, when they're just hanging out. People are carrying them when they're going to bars to watch the game. They have these belts because now it's another representation for them. So of course, number 4 goes to those belts. So as you just saw, my number 3 is kind of a bittersweet thing because in order for this belt to even be brought to limelight and for us to appreciate it, we had to let go of 2 other belts. And when I say we had to let go, of course, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship had already been retired, but then we had actually got rid of the IWGP US title, which were 2 of my favorite New Japan titles. But slowly but surely, the Global Championship has grown on me. When it was first announced, it was like, please restore my faith in IWGP and making good belts, because we know what happened with version 5 of their world title, and it was like, ooh, that's what you did after you gave us such good looking belts. But I'm not going to harp on 5. Let's talk about the beauty of the Global Championship, the uniqueness of it, the style of it. Everything about it screams secondary title. And I know WWE has gotten us now programmed that a white strap is for the women's division, but a white strap still means secondary belt in a lot of things, and it definitely shows that this is the second tier championship and not the other title and not the world title. So of course, number 3 goes to the Global Championship. I bet you didn't see number 2 coming. But to understand number two, you got to understand a couple different things. In season 1 of Championship Culture, we went through why the North American title is underrated. Underrated is a understated when it comes to this design of this belt. And being there WrestleMania weekend to see the belt revealed, keep running to the stands to see if they had it out to be purchased, kept checking WWE shop to see if it was purchased, did nothing but create the excitement, and it created a new feeling of, oh, we finally got the first women's mid-card belt in WWE. And the look of this belt, with the globe being now red, gave it a unique identity. Even with the North American part on the globe having that silver texture to it, it made it look like it was almost like a diamond encrusted. How the light hit it, it just looked like it was a shiny, shimmery type of blinged out thing for this belt, which didn't take away from the design, it actually enhanced it. It didn't give it a softer look, it gave it a more in-depth that this is clearly the women's equivalent to the men's. Similar to what we saw when the women's world title was revealed and Rhea Ripley held it up. It felt like that is so important, just like the men's is. We've seen where either title could open or close the show. It could be in the mid-card. It's getting its feature and it's doing exactly what the women's mid-card title needs to do. It's putting eyes on women to get them to not necessarily the next step, but to give them something else to fight for, to give them something else to go behind. Because it seems like now in 2024, we're kind of moving away from the women's wrestling and the men's wrestling, and it's just becoming all wrestling. So now when you look at the belts, you can clearly see, yep, that's for this division, that's for that division, but they're both equally as important. Hence why this was number 2 on my list. Now, of course, before we get to number 1, I gotta give you some honorable mentions. And these honorable mentions are going to shock you. Well, as you can see, the first honorable mention goes to the other set of the women's mid-card titles, the women's US and the women's Intercontinental. Not much change besides just being the strap being different, but man, doesn't that strap hit different on that United States title around Chelsea Green's waist. And we'll see the first ever women's Intercontinental Champion crowned on January 6th episode of Raw. And it's interesting because something about that white and blue, and how the white Intercontinental title looked on that white strap when Cody Rhodes brought it back. So it shows that, you know, that blue and that white and simple colors just make it a uniqueness. The reason that this didn't make it because 1, the belt came later in the year, but 2, it was just changing the strap. Not a lot of, you know, identity to the belt outside of the white strap and the words women being on it. That's really the only difference to a upgrade to these belts. Hence why it's one of the honorable mentions. Because this one was very near and dear. You gave us these silver belts and they all look the same. And then you slowly snuck in April of 2024, you stuck this belt out on us, which is leaps and bounds above any 6-man title I've seen. It is so unique. It is so nice. Why was it a secret? Why did you just not make a big deal about it? You clearly had 746 belts on your roster, and I'm purposely not going to say the name because I don't want people to think I'm bashing it. But man, this belt, only reason it's honorable mention because we didn't get reveals like we did for the other ones. We didn't get a big lead up to it. We didn't get a big old, hey, look at these new sets of belts. But these belts are gorgeous. This is how you do silver, black, and red on a belt. Everything about that 6-man belt. And I know a 6-man belt is kind of a sore subject for people, but that 6-man belt is awesome looking. And if you would have just gave us some, hey, we're getting new championships, hey, we're getting something. You like big announcements. Why not make a big announcement for your second brand? Because that is how you do a title. Hence why it's an honorable mention. So as you can see, number 1 went to, of course, none other than the promotion that had the best looking belts of this year. Sorry, AEW. They blew you out the water in January 2024 and did not turn back. As you can see right above me, got the tag belt. Over my shoulder is the X Division. And right below me is a belt that I unboxed that doesn't belong to me, but I had to hold on to it just for this video. The TNA World Heavyweight Championship. When I tell you the #1 spot, without a shadow of doubt, went to these belts, because how do you build up one excitement for Impact is going back to TNA. TNA is what made us, or gave us wrestling fans, an alternative when WWE product wasn't that great. Now, did TNA, was they great the whole time? Absolutely not. But was TNA fun to watch? Was it an alternative? Yes. Does it bring us back to those moments that we said, this is wrestling, this is cool? It's given us some of the greats that we love today, hence AJ Styles. But when you think about the spirit of TNA, they went back. But when they went back in a big way. They said, not only are we going back, but we're going to give you a new set of belts, and we're going to make these belts look just as good, if not better than the ones before. Everybody knows the X Division is one of my favorite, as you can see, all of the versions, and now this one is over my shoulder too. But watching every day for a week at 12 o'clock to see the videos being released is what we do as wrestling fans. I'll never forget that moment that myself, Brother Hugh, The Realness, and even Hollywood all texting each other, sending pictures, talking about how gorgeous these belts are, how unique they are. Everything about these belts said TNA is back, and TNA is back with a big impact. No pun intended, but all the pun intended. So when I tell you 2024 was the year of the belt, TNA won. If there was a trophy for the best belts, heck, I'll give it to them. As the guy, and as, you know, championship culture representative, I feel like TNA won, because from their women's title to their men's title, from both sets of tag teams, even the digital media title, now that's the old one up there. They even upgraded it that we didn't even know it needed an upgrade. But the improvements on it were so unique, you could not tell me that if you look at all of their belts, not one of them didn't you say, man, that's a big deal, I want that belt. That's the only promotion that I believe that any casual fan, any wrestling fan, or any common person that doesn't know wrestling, if you saw one of those belts, your eyes will be drawn to it and you will be focused on it. So thank you, TNA, for giving us these belts this year, because you earned the #1 spot with the reveal of all of your belts. Women's world title, the men's world title, the X Division, men's tags, women's tag, and even the digital media championship. Good job. Keep it up. And man, look how gorgeous this belt is. I can't even say enough about it. Even though Hugh says, and I'm going to ruin it, Hugh says that he can't get past the mustache on this. But hey, it works for me. So there you have it. My top 5 belts of 2024. Because guess what? 2024 was definitely the year of the belts. Hey, did you agree? Did you disagree? Would you like to see something different on the list? What's your list? Post yours in the comments so that way we can engage in this conversation. Because guess what? 2024 definitely had some belts that I didn't even mention, and I know there's more to come. We've even seen the Wing Eagle come back, and it looks like it's going to be here to stay, and we might be getting a new version in 2025. Let's wait and see. But guess what? I didn't put this one on there because I didn't want to sound biased, because this was one of my favorite belts of 2024. You know, the Trios Championship from Championship Culture. But we're going to save that for another time, because 2024, it was a good year, a great time to be a wrestling fan, and we're in a point where we are sitting here saying it's cool to be a wrestling fan. More importantly, it's cool to have championships, whether they're around your waist or over your shoulder. So guess what? I'm going to say this for the last time in 2024, but it won't be the last time I'm saying it. Every belt has a story, and I can't wait to hear yours. Go over to Instagram and follow us at championshipculture_. And don't forget, check out youtube.com/thewrestlingroom. Look for the playlist for Championship Culture. And remember, every belt has a story.